Hi there, broomheads. Welcome to the Degrassi Tea Party. I have curated for you and from you several different Degrassi factoids, aka Degrassi tea, that I'm finally going to be sharing with you today. So, it is time for me to serve you your tea. Here you go, girl. And we are going to get into this list that I have gathered from many different sources. Just a heads up though, even though this is not gossip or anything like that, I can't 100% guarantee the accuracy of all of this information. You know how information goes. A lot of it was word of mouth, and then some of it came from this book, and even the book had some facts that weren't correct. So with that, just keep that in mind as we go through this. But if it's any consolation, a lot of the information that I'm going to be reporting to you today came right out of the mouths of cast and crew at panels. So basically what I wanted to deliver to you today were the little facts that I learned from panels that I read in this book by Catherine Ellis, and things that I've just heard, other things that other people know about the show. Little known facts about Degrassi, and I am definitely not going to wear these tea spilling glasses. Oh, and one more thing before we start, I wanted to show you my Esme inspired shirt that I'm wearing today. I'm pretty sure that this is not the shirt she wore, but this is the actual shirt she wore. It's from Zara. Let's get into the tea. The first tea I want to serve you came from you. So I asked you guys on Instagram, like, do you know any facts about Degrassi that everyone else doesn't know? And I invited you to share that with me. And I'm not gonna give names, so I'm sorry if you did want your name shared, but I don't know if some of y'all don't want your name shared. The girl who played Melanie, that's Sarah, was stalked by a fan. Yes, that is also what I have heard, which is why we don't know where she is right now. The actress who played Tabby still has Caitlin's engagement ring from School's Out. The song Teen Pregnancy by the Black Banshee samples audio from the Degrassi Junior High episode It's Late. I want to listen to that. Stefan said that Stacey Farber, who played Ellie, was the scariest to film because she was so particular about her acting. I could totally see that. The actor who played Towers, this is Next Generation, was fired because he always showed up late to work. Paula, who played Jane, originally auditioned to be Emma Nelson. And years later, the show reached back out to her and let her pick from Jane, Anya, or Holly J. Ooh. Editing-wise, the Canadian version of Degrassi is different from the American version. I'm not sure if he means like every episode has a little different editing, but I do know that some episodes did not air here because America has to shelter their children. In the episode Bad Blood from Degrassi High, Darren had to get a blood test. Dwayne had to get a blood test, and they actually used Neil's arm to get the blood drawn because Darren hates needles. The original book that started the Degrassi universe was a book called Ida Makes a Movie, and it's about a cat. Someone read that the cast of Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High wore a lot of their own clothes, which as far as I know, that is true. Of course, some of them were styled. Oh, you know what? This is tea. This is a little bit of gossip. Is it wrong for me to even say this? Well, you know what? I didn't say it. Someone else said it, so I'm gonna say it. Pretty well, everyone on the cast hates Linda Schuyler. But that's none of my business. Craig Driscoll, who played Rick on Degrassi Junior High, quit. He was not fired, in case anyone thought that. He quit, which I am forever bummed about. Someone says, in School's Out, the first scene is a set of hands the camera pans out from. Those are my friend's hands. That's cool. Okay, I've heard this too. Aaron Spelling tried to buy the rights to Degrassi, and when he couldn't, 90210 was created. And I have heard things like that too, that basically 90210 was America's attempt at Degrassi, which is so stupid. Like, maybe they started out wanting to follow in the same kind of footsteps, but it went a totally different direction. Neil Hope got David Armand Parcells in with Degrassi. Oh yeah, and Neil and David were good friends apparently. Oh, this is another little tidbit I've heard. When Kids of Degrassi Street was coming to an end, and a lot of people were returning for Degrassi Junior High, the kids got the choice: did you want to keep the character you are right now, or do you want a new character? And almost everybody chose they wanted a new character. And that's how the characters of Degrassi Junior High were created. People stay pretty tight-lipped about do cast members date each other? But some tea is that Pat asked Stacy out and she turned him down because she didn't want to date a coworker. I once had a dream that Heather Sinclair was Kathy Bates. I heard that in Degrassi and Next Generation, Cassie and Miriam and etc. wore their own clothes on the show. I would definitely speculate that that is true. However, I'm not sure those dolphin pants would be chosen by anyone. Okay, that's all I got from you guys, but I have some more. So my next source is this book. This girl has a name, and it's Lois. Steve, who played Clutch, didn't have his driver's license when he first started driving as Clutch on the show. Alright, and this book says that Nev Campbell was an extra on Degrassi Junior High. This is the first I've ever heard of that. Does anybody know? Is this true? I see that her brother was on the show on Degrassi High playing Dale's friend. So it's possible, but shoot, I'm gonna have to rewatch and just be looking in the background trying to find Nev. For the shower scene of It Creeps, it was in the dead of winter and the basement where they filmed had no hot water. So Simon froze his butt off. It's JC's butt that you see in the opening credits, and JC still has those jeans. Keith White, who played Tim, wrote the Savages song. You guys know what song, right? You don't need me to sing it? Rock and roll takes a lot of your soul. That one. You're welcome. Okay, this is tea, and I agree with this tea. I am currently screenshotting Next Generation right now, so my head's kind of in Next Generation. Amanda, who played Spike, thinks that grown-up Spike in the Next Generation got dull. And I agree. This is my personal opinion. I'm trying to serve tea, but I agree. She got so boring, and so did Snake, and so did Joey. It's like breaking my heart. Like, why are they all so dull and grown up? Oh, look. Okay, so the age they are when the Next Generation starts is the age I am right now. Or I'm even older. And I'm not that boring. Am I? Anyway, back to it. Okay, this is in the book, all right? And this is the first I've ever heard of it. Toby's real name is Tobias. Is that true? Dylan and Marco were the first gay kiss on kids' television. If you want to call Degrassi kids' television. Also, and Dylan is straight in real life. Degrassi Street is named after a dude named Captain Filippo Degrassi. He's an Italian guy. And he's like a historical figure or something. I didn't continue my research from there. Degrassi has won tons of awards. I didn't list any of them. Oh, this is tea that I forgot that you guys told me. Some of my friends, when we were in Toronto, told me. And then Kit, I think, mentioned this in a panel. In Degrassi, School's Out. You know when Simon and Alexa get married and Simon has a perm? Like all of a sudden? Look, there was a story behind it. There are deleted scenes. So what had happened was that I heard is that Alexa she was in beauty school at this time. And so she used Simon to experiment on. She used him like as a guinea pig, and he came out the other side with a perm. And he had a perm for his wedding. But also, think about this. Someone else pointed this out to me. I can't take credit for this connection. In season 2 of Degrassi The Next Generation, when Spike and Snake are getting married, Emma has a perm gone wrong for the wedding too. Like, I can't help but think that's a little like wink towards Degrassi School's Out, the scene that never happened. Okay, now we're getting into the info that I gathered from panels at Degrassi Palooza. The twins wore black and white. They were dressed in black and white purposefully. And it was to kind of represent the contrast between like good choices and bad choices. So like sort of like the devil on the shoulder and the angel on the shoulder, like the Greek choir kind of thing. So they were always wearing black and white because of like deep symbolism, which is super cool. But I was also sad to learn that they didn't like what they were dressed in. Maureen and Angela didn't like it. They thought it looked unflattering. And Rebecca, who played Kathleen, actually mentioned that for the final dance, the dress that they put her in, she hated it so much she cried. Okay, one of the questions was Tessa, Kirsten, nervous during sex scenes, like of Degrassi's School's Out? And she said not really, because she and Pat were very comfortable with each other and they trusted each other. And Judy Shiner, who was the art director, she mentioned that what looks like an intimate moment, like right out of frame, there are lights and there are like people like directing you, and it looks like creepy and intimate, but it's actually it's a work environment. Okay, so I mentioned this in my recap of Degrassi Palooza, but someone asked Billy, who played Shane, why didn't you come back for Degrassi The Next Generation Season 3 episode Father Figure as Emma's dad? And he said he didn't have an answer. And then other people were interpreting that as he didn't get invited. But I don't know the real tea on that. One of the questions was, who in the cast still has memorabilia from the show? Michelle has a sign, I think a sign from the school. Snake has his swim team jacket and his Zits sweatshirt. Oh my god. Kit has the alarm clock from the opening of Degrassi High, and he actually brought it to Degrassi Palooza. Steph has a yearbook. Sorry for using the character names, but Steph has a yearbook. Apparently they would put out like a Degrassi yearbook just for like the cast. Caitlin said that her dad shot the opening for Degrassi High, I think. So she still has the storyboard. And Miss Avery still has all of her clothes. Another question was, as actors on the show, did you learn things from the show? Like, did it teach you too? Like, it was meant to teach kids out there. And Nancy said, not really, because they're like big city kids. So they've already kind of been, and a lot of times like, they're a little older than who they were playing. So they've been exposed to a little bit more. But Michelle said that she was going to a Catholic all-girls school at the time. So Degrassi really was, and she was very sheltered. So Degrassi really was her window into the world. And Dwayne added that he definitely learned about AIDS and HIV. Okay, the following questions are going to come from a panel that I went to that had Stephanie, Vula, Kathleen, and the twins. Kathleen said that she auditioned for Melanie, but the writers saw an attitude in Rebecca, and so they designed the character of Kathleen based off of her. And they actually gave her the name Kathleen Mead after the housekeeper for the Playing with Time studio. And we did talk about clothes a little bit. basically everyone generally did their own makeup and hair, and a lot of the clothes they were dressed in came from Value Village. And like I mentioned earlier, a lot of times they didn't like what they were wearing. Vula talked a little bit about what it was like acting with adults at such a young age, and she kind of talked about working with a guy who played Vula's dad, and it was very like fleeting, you know? They didn't like become buddies or anything. He just like came in, did his part, and left, and she just like never saw him again. So she said it was a little weird and impersonal. And this is a very popular question. Everybody always asks Stephanie, like, why did you leave the show? And she says, because I was tired of playing the same character. She wanted to do new things. And Vula got asked the same question, and she said she didn't really have a good reason. She says she was a bit too cavalier in just making that choice, but that she was really into theater and arts, so she just kind of moved on to other stuff as well. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the twins were in an episode of Kids in the Hall, and I think it's called The Gazebo, so look that up if you've never seen it. And they said that when they auditioned for it, all they had to do was come into the room and just laugh. Oh, and they did talk about cringe-worthy acting, and it was so funny. They pointed out some lines that they kind of hated delivering or the delivery of, and Vula's was, "You're nothing but a baby, a selfish baby." And then Kathleen mentioned Melanie, you've really tried drugs? Oh, okay. Another fun fact is that there was no fight choreography for the fight between Liz and Erica. And you can actually hear Wallfish laughing in the background of their fight scene. The following questions came from a panel I attended with Nancy, Claude, Michelle, and Dwayne. And one of the questions was, what storyline do you wish you could have had for your character? Nancy said she would have liked a love storyline. Claude would have liked to further develop his protester artist persona. Michelle would have liked to had a chance to be the bully. And Dwayne would have liked to walk naked through the calf. And then everyone talked about what was their favorite moment for their character. Nancy's was getting her driver's license. Claude's was being a ghost. Dwayne's was hazing Joey. And Michelle's was when she stood up to her dad. And I've got 3 little tidbits from another panel with Yick, Stefan, Caitlin, Snake, and Joey. Why did I say Stefan's real name? I don't know. Anyway, so NARBO stands for No Acting Required by Others. And it was kind of this something that Kit would say to the cast, like, basically means like you don't have to have any prior experience in acting. It was kind of just to like encourage them, as far as I understand it. And I already said this in my other video, but I asked Snake, was it hard to perform the scene where Snake finds Claude? And he said, yeah, and he couldn't make himself cry, so he had to like put onions in his eyes to cry. And Claude wore his own clothes. He was not dressed by someone else. And Yick really wanted an earring, so he asked Yan to write it into the script so he could get one. And that's basically all the tea. I wrote one little other thing down that came from The Next Generation, because I grew up watching The Next Generation as it aired. And this channel we watched it on was called The Inn. And they had this little series where the actor took you to their home and you could like see their room and see their life and stuff. It was really cool. So I remember seeing Jimmy's, Aubrey's, and I remember him just talking a little bit about what he was into, and he was saying that he's going to be a rapper one day. And I was like, whatever, honey. Now look at him. I doubted him. Wow, well there it is. That's all the tea. Sorry I keep using that word. I just really like it and I want to use it before it phases out. But I mean, there's endless tea. Like, I could probably do 10 more videos with Degrassi fun facts. or, answers to questions that have been asked at panels or on Instagram or whatever. But I hope this was somewhat of an enjoyable watch. Thanks for everyone who shared some tea. And yeah, I don't know, if you've got more, comment and we can talk about more tea or something. Check out my mug. Thank you to Kicked in the Broomhead. All right, that's all the tea I've got for today. Bye, Broomheads.